Before I get into this video, I'd just like to say a big thank you to everyone who's supported and subscribed so far. It really means the world to me. Thank you and enjoy the video.
What do you make of Prince Andrew's denial? Can you comment on that? You said you won't be silenced. He has been outspoken.
He knows what he's done, and he can attest to that. So
Can you repeat that? We can't hear you. Step up.
he knows exactly what he's done, and I hope he comes clean about it. Thank you. First of all, I just want to say thank you all for turning out and putting some limelight on this horrid discussion that we've had to deal with for the last 2 decades nearly. I want to start by saying it's not how Jeffrey died, but it's how he lived. And we need to get to the bottom of everybody who was involved with that, starting with Ghislaine Maxwell and going along the lines there. I was recruited at a very young age from Mar-a-Lago and entrapped in a world that I didn't understand, and I've been fighting that very world to this day, and I won't stop fighting. I will never be silenced until these people are brought to justice. So thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
What do you make of Prince Andrew's denial? Can you comment on that? You said you won't be silenced. He has been outspoken.
He knows what he's done, and he can attest to that. So
Can you repeat that? We can't hear you. Step up.
he knows exactly what he's done, and I hope he comes clean about it. Thank you.
She says she met you in 2001. She dined with you. She danced with you. You bought her drinks. You were in Tramp nightclub in London. And she went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Didn't happen.
Do you remember her?
No. I have no recollection of ever meeting her. I'm almost, in fact, I'm convinced that I was never in Tramps with her.
Just for the record, you've been on his private plane.
Yes.
You've been to stay on his private island.
Yes.
You've stayed at his home in Palm Beach.
Yes.
You've visited Ghislaine Maxwell's house in Belgravia in London.
Yes.
Because you were perceived by the public as being the party prince. Was that something you shared?
I think that's also a bit of a stretch. I don't know why I've collected that title, because I never have really partied.
The prince himself has claimed that he never parties. Check out these photos and tell me what you think.
Described dancing with you,
No.
and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating, because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was, oh actually, yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at, and I simply, it was almost impossible for me to sweat, and it's only because I have done a number of things in the recent past that I'm starting to be able to do that again. So I'm afraid to say that there's a medical condition that says that I didn't do it, so therefore.
The prince claims that the allegations made against him are false because he couldn't have sweated at the time. So I have a medical expert here that claims pretty much that his allegations are bullshit. Check it out.
Now, this is quite a crucial thing in the evidence, isn't it? Because if someone remembers him as very sweaty, but he couldn't sweat, then they may be thinking of something else. Well, what is this medical condition? Well, it's an extraordinary claim because there's only three things really that can cause this condition called anhidrosis or hypohidrosis. Firstly, it can be congenital, which it clearly isn't in this case. Secondly, it can be a prelude to something like heat stroke, where you're so empty of body fluid you can't sweat. Clearly, it isn't the case here. And there's a third explanation, which is that simply he had an injury or some kind of serious condition which would affect his whole body, and again, which clearly isn't the case. And as for the adrenaline thing in the Falklands, it doesn't make sense because sweating isn't mediated by adrenaline, it's mediated by acetylcholine. And there's...
Sounds like you're rather sceptical.
That photograph has been doctored, but I don't recollect that photograph ever being taken.
And you don't recollect having your hand round her waist in Ghislaine Maxwell's house on any occasion, even if it was a different date?
I'm terribly sorry, but if I, as a member of the royal family, and I have a photograph taken, and I take very, very few photographs, I am not one to, as it were, hug, and public displays of affection are not something that I do. So that's the best explanation I can give you. And I'm afraid to say that I don't believe that photograph was taken in the way that has been suggested.
Why would people not believe that you were there?
I'm sorry, why would...
I'm just trying to understand. There's a photo inside Ghislaine Maxwell's house. Ghislaine herself is in the background. Why would people not believe that you were there with her that night?
Well, they might well wish to believe it, but the photograph is taken upstairs, and I don't think I ever went upstairs in Ghislaine's house.
You're sure of that?
Yeah, because the dining room and everything was on the ground floor. It was as you came in the hall. So I don't remember ever going up there.
So why wouldn't you announce this breakup when you got back? Why wouldn't you publicly explain what you'd done? Did you worry that he had something that could compromise you?
No. No.
Do you regret that trip?
Yes.
Do you regret the whole friendship with Epstein?
Now, still not. And the reason being is that the people that I met and the opportunities that I was given to learn, either by him or because of him, were actually very useful. He himself, not, as it were, as close as you might think. We weren't that close. So therefore, I mean, yes, I would go and stay in his house, but that was because of his girlfriend, not because of him.
Was that visit, December of 2010, the only time you saw him after he was convicted?
Yes.
Did you see him or speak to him again?
No, that was that. Funny enough, 2010 was it. That was it, because I went. Well, first of all, I wanted to make sure that if I was going to go and see him, I had to make sure that there was enough time between his release, because it wasn't something that I was going into in a hurry, but I had to go and see him. I had to go and see him. I had to stay
with him and stay in the house.
I could easily have gone and stayed somewhere else, but sheer convenience of being able to get a hold of the man was. I mean, he was in and out all over the place. So, getting him in one place for coloured by my tendency to be too honourable. But that's just the way it is.
Prince Andrew has been kicked out of Buckingham Palace. He's also lost his salary of over $200,000 a year. The Prince was also asked to step down for over 230 patronages that he has sponsored. and worked very tightly with recently and previously before this incident. The University of Huddersfield also asked Prince Andrew to step down as Chancellor of their university, as they don't want to be associated with a pedophile. Cheers for watching the video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. It took me a lot of time to make, so I'd really appreciate a like, a comment and subscribe if you could. Thank you and have a good day.